Hello everyone, welcome to class. This is mathematics with teacher Baz and we are still in proportion. So today we'll be taking inverse proportion. Inverse proportion. So what is inverse proportion? Remember we said we have two types of proportion, which is direct and inverse proportion. So we've talked about direct proportion. I think two or three videos before now we've discussed the direct proportion carefully. So we'll be looking at inverse proportion. Inverse proportion compares quantities such that when one quantity increases, the other decreases. When one quantity increases, the other decreases, and vice versa. So when one quantity increases, the other decreases, and when one decreases, the other side increases. So that is what we mean by inverse proportion. Now, I do tell my learners that one of the key things in proportion is being able to differentiate between direct and inverse proportion questions. Being able to differentiate between the two questions, which one do you use direct and which one do you use inverse? So, like we talked about direct, that direct has to do with when one side increases, the other side also increases, and when one side decreases, the other side also decreases. But in inverse proportion, when one side increases, the other side decreases. When one side, that's inverse. Okay, so the kind of questions that come in inverse proportion, especially for the grade level learners, is a question that involves number of people doing work and the time taken to do the work. Please, you must take note of this. Number of people doing work and the time taken to do the work. Number of people doing work and the time taken to do the work. For example, let me make an explanation before we proceed to solve the examples that we have. Now, if we have if we have a proportion question in which maybe we are looking at two persons, two persons can do a particular work. Two persons can do a particular work, let's say in 8 days. Two persons can do a particular work in 8 days. Maybe they can sweep a floor or they can dig a particular pit. Let's say they can dig a pit in 8 days. Now, if we increase the number of persons to four persons, if we increase number of persons to four, this was two, we've increased it. That's we've multiplied by two here to give us four persons. Now, this is based on simple logic. You know that if we increase number of persons doing the work, the time it will take for them to do the work will reduce. So if two persons can finish a particular work working at a particular rate in 8 days, now if four persons are now doing the same work at the same rate, the time taken to do the work will definitely reduce. For example, okay, let's come to children. If maybe you are in a house, you have maybe four siblings, so you are four in a house, and then maybe one carton of indomie finishes in maybe you can maybe four of you finish one carton of indomie in maybe 10 days. So let's now say if you now have your cousins coming to the house and then maybe you are now 10 persons in the house. There are 10 persons in the house eating the same one carton of indomie at the same rate. You notice that the time taken to finish that indomie will reduce. The indomie will not be able to last the 10 days again that you used to take to finish it if you have four persons in the house. So this is where inverse comes in. It comes in when you are dealing with number of persons doing work and the time taken to do the work. Please take note of this differentiation. Inverse proportion has to do with number of persons doing work and the time taken to do the work. So let's move to the examples we have under inverse proportion. 12 men can cut a football field in 4 days. 12 men can cut a football field in 4 days. How many days can four men cut the same field if they work at the same rate? Okay, so what I will do, I'm going to give the cheats to solve inverse proportion easily. So let's see, 12 men can cut a football field in 4 days. Of course, proportion will always demand that we have a relationship. There must be a relationship for proportion. So 12 men can cut a football field in 4 days. So 12 men equals to 4 days. That's the relationship. In how many days can 4 men cut? Okay, so can 4 men cut the same field if they work at the same rate, and then the same field? So how many days? We can put that as x. Now, looking at this kind of question, this is number of persons doing work and the time taken to do the work. So this is an inverse proportion question. And in inverse proportion, we don't cross multiply in inverse proportion. Rather, we do what we call, or what I call, side multiplication. Side multiplication. Remember, in direct proportion, we cross multiplied, but in inverse proportion, we do what we call side multiplication. So this will multiply with this, and then this will multiply with this. So what we can start with the down part. 4 times x, that will give us 4x equal to 12 times 4, that will give us 48. So if we divide both sides by 4, we have that our x is equal to 12. So that means 4 men can do that work in 12 days. Okay, so 4 men can cut that same field working at the same rate in 12 days. Okay, let's move to number 2. Number 2, a man working 6 hours a day can finish a project in 15 days. A man working 6 hours a day can finish a project in 16 days. How many hours a day will he work to finish a project in 10 days if he works at the same rate? 6 hours a day. 6 hours a day. Now, this is also an inverse proportion question. It's also an inverse proportion question. So, a man working 6 hours a day. So, 6 hours a day will be equal to what? Will give us 15 days. The man working at 6 hours a day will finish the work in 15 days. Now, if okay, how many hours a day will he work to finish the project? To finish the project in 10 days. So we have 10 days over here. 10 days equal to how many hours? X. So of course this is an inverse proportion question. So we cross, or we don't cross multiply, we do side multiplication. Is two side multiplication, and then that will give us 10 times x, which is 10x, equal to 6 times 15, which that will give us 90. So we divide by 10 and we divide by 10, and then our x will be equal to 9. So that means 10 days, 10 days to finish the work in 10 days means the person is working at 9 hours per day. 9 hours per day. Okay, so let's see. So this is what we have for inverse proportion. Inverse proportion is always a simple case. It's just for you to be able to differentiate between direct and inverse. And take note, in inverse you don't cross multiply. Inverse you do side multiplication. So once you've seen that your question is an inverse proportion question, you don't cross multiply. Rather you do side multiplication. Okay, so the activity questions, you have 5 questions here under inverse proportion. So you carefully go through them, carefully make sure that you solve them one after the other. So this is an essential topic for the grade level mathematics. It comes in examination for the upper grade level. Thank you very much for seeing this video. Please do well. We have one more video to complete the series on proportion, and then we'll move to the next topic. Please do well to subscribe, to like, and also share this content to others. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in our next class. Thank you.